Duration of the meeting. Welcome to the November 18th, 2024 Strategic and Planning and External Relationships Committee meeting. I'm Director Williams, and I am the Chair of the Strategy, Planning, and External Relations Committee. The meeting format is hybrid. Quorum is physically present at the HART Administration Office, 1201 East 7th Avenue, Florida, conference room, and the rest of the board members are participating via communication media technology. If you'll please look at the screens on your devices and join me in stating the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson, will you take roll, please?
Committee Member Hartfield.
Present.
Committee Member King.
Present.
Committee Member Mechanic.
Here.
Committee Member Schisler.
Here.
Committee Chair Williams.
Here.
You do have a quorum.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comments. Is there anyone present to provide public comments at this time? Seeing none. Is there anyone online that would like to announce public comments as well? Okay, no one online. We'll move forward to the next agenda item. Approval of the meeting minutes. In the packet are the minutes from the August 19th, 2024 Strategic Planning and External Relations Committee meeting. Is there a motion to approve the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. Okay. We have a motion by Director Schisler and a second by Director Hartfield. Ms. Jackson, will you take the vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Committee Member Hartfield.
Yes.
Committee Member King.
Present.
Committee Member Mechanic.
Yes.
Committee Member Schisler.
Yes.
Committee Chair Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is the Chief Executive Officer Compliance Report. I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Drain, at this time.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, committee members. This is in compliance in regards to House Bill 1301 that was signed into law. Effective July 1st, 2024, Chapter 2024-57, amend Section 341.071 of the Florida Statutes, Transit Productivity and Performance Measures and Reports. By adding subsection 4, this new provision requires public transit providers to disclose certain information and documentation relating to its budgeted and general administrative costs. Beginning November 1st, 2024, and every year thereafter, public transit agencies are required to report certain transit productivity and performance measures pursuant to Section 341.071, subsection 4, B and D of the Florida statutes. Public transit providers receiving FDOT Transit Block Grant funding are required to report certain metrics. So these reports are also posted on our website. HART staff made a decision to create a separate web page that will contain all reports in compliance with the HB 1301. This is to ensure transparency and eliminate extra steps for the public to navigate our website in search of this information. On the screens, you will see this information as it's displayed on the HART website. So first, HART is required to certify whether its administrative costs are above or below its state average. So HART does certify that its FY 2023 administrative cost is 28.5%, which is lower than the state average administrative cost plus 20% as a Florida Tier 1 agency. Secondly, HART is to report on the line item budget report of its budgeted and actual general administrative costs for the previous fiscal year. So you can please see the screens. And HART is to report all salaried executive management level employees' total compensation packages. The fourth requirement is to report on the ridership performance and metrics based on the most recent closed-out NTD data. As you can see, we have our FY24 performance scorecard posted as well as all ridership and other performance reports for calendar year 2024. And lastly, HART is to list any gifts as defined in Section 112.312 accepted in exchange for contracts. HART certifies that no gifts have been accepted in exchange for contracts. And this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Drainville. Are there any questions at this time? See no questions, we'll move forward to our presentations.
What are you going to do with this?
This was just a bill that was placed last year, and then the governor signed it. So it's just informational items for all transit providers to, going forward, to have this posted.
They're going to want to do something with this information eventually. They don't.
We wasn't notified why. We were just, this bill was put across, and we're complying with the bill, so.
You know, we're not the highest, but we're certainly in the higher range. I'm wondering if that's something they can come back and hammer us on.
And, you know, just for informational items, so when you look at the agencies across the state, it's not really an apples to apples when many of the organizations are part of the county or the municipality, where, you know, 2 of us out of the 7 Tier 1 agencies, us and PSCA, are its own authority, which we have our own legal departments, we have our own HR, where they share these costs, so.
Okay, that's a key issue.
So we've had conversations with FDOT about that.
Okay. And what about nationwide? How do we do, or is there any national data that's?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't have that answer.
Okay,
We can
I'm
look
just
into
curious
that.
if there was any comparisons. Okay, that's a good point about the size and the other stuff that we have to carry due to being Tier 1. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to our presentations. The next agenda item is a presentation on fiscal year 2024 performance scorecard report and introduction of fiscal year 2025 performance scorecard. Mr. Drainville, you are again recognized to present.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning again. So as we reflect on the fiscal year 2024 performance metrics, I want to express my gratitude to our dedicated team for their hard work and commitment. The annual performance scorecard provides a comprehensive overview for all achievements and challenges in key areas. I would like to review each focus area and provide some highlights of the goals we have achieved, factors that impacted HART's success in FY24, and improvement measures staff is putting in place to ensure we are on target in FY 2025. In your packets, as an attachment to this report, you can find the full details of all FY 24 scorecard metrics. So in the area of focus of customer experience in FY 24, the team met or exceeded 5 goals out of the 7 categories listed. We set ambitious goals, particularly in customer comment resolution, and I am pleased to report that we surpassed our target of 90% of customer inputs are resolved within 10 working days, achieving a resolution rate of 91%. This reflects our commitment to listening to our customers and addressing their needs promptly. However, we face challenges in on-time performance across our bus service, falling short of our target with a performance rate of just under 70%. While our streetcar and paratransit services exceeded expectations, achieving 99% and 97% respectively, we must prioritize strategies to improve the bus service reliability. So a couple of factors, there were several factors that contributed to HART not reaching the goal of 77% for the fixed right on-time performance. A main influential factor includes major construction on interstates, which pushes more traffic on the local arterials, which most of our service does actually operate. Additionally, the factors that are difficult to quantify the impact are the increased traffic above pre-COVID levels and a large number of new residents locating to Tampa Bay area and within the city of Tampa, which have definitely increased the persistent congestion. And another factor is when school is in sessions, we definitely see a lot more traffic when Hillsborough School is in session. So on improvement measures for FY25, staff has continued hosting open house events, inviting cross-department staff and operators to provide feedback on schedules. The ATU was involved in reviewing schedules prior to each markup. Software such as Swiftly is being used more often to evaluate performance and changes. Customers are encouraged to use Flamingo Fares to speed up the boarding time, and time point signage was added throughout the system to highlight the scheduled departure points along each route for operator and customer use. Staff has also implemented changes in the scheduling process that includes the elimination of legacy time points that were spaced too close together in conjunction with the removal of some bus stops that will improve speeds and schedule adherence. HART scheduling staff has implemented incremental runtime adjustments so that there is more variability across runtimes throughout the day, which be more accurate, depict the volatile traffic conditions in which bus service operates in mixed traffic. Furthermore, HART scheduling has reduced the frequency of service from every 15 minutes to every 20 minutes on several routes to add more travel time and increase the on-time performance and consistency of layovers based on the most recently available data. Moving on to community value. Turning to the community value focus area, we have achieved all 4 goals. We established a baseline of community sentiment, revealing that 33% of the local businesses and government entities believe HART delivers value to Hillsborough County. While this is a starting point, it also highlights the need for further engagement and outreach to enhance our community perception. In FY 2025, HART will focus on decreasing the negative perception as well as shifting those who remain neutral towards the positive opinions. In FY '24, HART continued to be focused on building stronger partnerships and expand opportunities for diverse businesses. In August, we hosted a Pathways to Business Expo, a DBE SBE forum, at which staff members were on hand to inform and educate participants on ways to contract with HART. The event provided the platform to exhibit tables and distribute information on small business certifications, finding contract opportunities with local government and federal government, and resources available to assist small businesses. HART's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise seeks to award contracts to qualifying disadvantaged minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned, and small business enterprises. The DBE semi-annual report was submitted to the FTA on time and approved with a target of 13.9% or higher. Throughout all quarters of the FY '24, we met and exceeded the set goals. The small business participation also remained strong above the target of 3%. Moving on to employee success. Our employees are our greatest asset, and I'm proud to report that we not only met but exceeded our goal for employee engagement events with 12 held in Q4. Furthermore, our training hours per employee stand at 85%, underscoring our commitment to professional development. The Learning and Development Department are working on developing a learning management system, or LMS, for online learning for the HART team. This tool will help reach more employees quickly and efficiently, allowing us to create and track training while adapting courses to meet the organization's evolving needs. LMS will serve as a centralized training depository portal for all agencies' professional development and allow for more accurate goal setting and tracking of progress. Learning and development will continue with quarterly training for bargaining employees in FY '25. Our wellness program has seen strong participation, though we will aim to enhance our engagement in future quarters. Financial performance. Financially, we finished FY '25 with the fund balance reserve of $37.7 million, well above our target of $27.1 million. I would like to refer you to page 36 of the report in the packet that accompanies this presentation. You can see the operating reserve trend analysis from 2020 to 2024. When in 2020, our reserves were at 29% of the required by the HART Board Policy 90-day goal. In FY '24, we have exceeded the goal and are at 140% of that target. This position helps us to navigate future challenges with resilience. We are also committed to maintaining our cost per hour of service in line with inflation, ensuring that our fiscal responsibilities are upheld. In closing, while we have achieved notable successes, particularly in financial stability, we recognize the areas requiring our immediate attention, especially bus on-time performance and in community engagement. Moving forward, we will implement targeted strategies to address these challenges, ensuring that HART continues to serve as a vital resource to our community. For our fiscal year 2025 organizational performance scorecard, we outline our strategic goals and expected outcomes across several key areas: customer experience, community value, employee engagement, financial stability, and new this year, safety and security. This year, we will focus on achieving measurable outcomes over legacy input metrics, ensuring that our efforts translate into tangible benefits for our customers, employees, and the community. First, we have a customer experience index. Our target for service disruptions is to keep trips running more than 15 minutes late to less than 3.9% of the time. For completed trips and service reliability, we aim for fixed route at 99.7% of trips completed as scheduled, paratransit 99.6 completion rate, and streetcar 99.3%. Regarding overall on-time performance, our goals are weekday 75% and weekend at 80%. This new course of action will enhance our operational efficiency and communicate strategies to minimize disruptions and ultimately improve overall customer satisfaction. Next, we turn to Community Value Index. Our goal is to increase the community's perception rate by 17% to enhance sentiment regarding HART's value in Hillsborough County. So how do we come up with that goal of 17% increase? If you recall, in FY24, we established a baseline of 33% of local businesses and government entities that believes HART delivers value to the Hillsborough County. We would like to increase this perception up to 50% in FY25, which constitutes an increase of 17%. We aim to meet and exceed the DBE goal of 13.9% as approved by the FTA. Additionally, we will maintain or exceed a 3% participation rate in small business enterprises. Strengthening our community outreach and engagement initiatives will be pivotal in boosting our positive perception within the community. Moving on to Employee Engagement Index. For survey participation goals, we're aiming to increase participation by 50% by non-bargaining employees, 100% for bargaining employees, and key targets will include feeling proud to work at HART, feeling valued, access to resources, and being well-informed. With targets set for bargaining and non-bargaining employees, in FY25, we will aim to maintain monthly attrition rates at 5%. Each employee will receive 10 hours of professional development training annually, enhancing internal communications and providing robust professional development opportunities will be key to improving employee satisfaction and engagement. Next, let us discuss financial stability. Our goal for budgeted revenue is to meet or exceed projections. We will maintain expenses at or below budget levels for FTEs and expenses. Our fund balance reserves will be minimum of 90 days of operating expenses. We will keep administrative costs at 20% or less than the annual state average. Additionally, the cost per revenue hour will be reported annually based on cost allocation as recommended by the FDOT study. A continued focus on financial discipline and resource allocation will be crucial to ensure our financial health that aligns with our strategic goals. And finally, we address Safety and Security Index. Our targets for vehicle collision rates are for bus 0.14 per 100,000 miles, van 0.02 per 100,000 miles, and streetcar 0.07 per 100,000 miles. We aim for an employee lost time accident rate of less than 4 incidents per 100 full-time employees. For assaults and harassments, we target 0.08 reportable customer accidents per 100,000 miles, customers with total projected ridership for FY25 of 14,360,847. As a point of reference, we reported 20 assaults in FY24. Implementing rigorous safety training and protocols will be critical in enhancing both employee and customer safety. As we move forward in FY25, our focus will be on driving outcomes that directly impact our stakeholders. By setting specific performance goals and measuring our progress effectively, we can ensure HART not only meets but exceeds expectations in customer experience, community value, employee engagement, financial stability, and safety. This strategic approach will be position us for sustainable growth and enhanced service delivery. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Dranko. Are there any questions
I
or
have a
comments?
question. I have a question, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. You're recognized at this time, Mr. Mechanic.
Yes, Scott, a lot of these you went through quickly, but just to cite an example, you were saying under employee engagement that you measure whether or not the employees are well informed. How do you measure that? I mean, I realize many of these are objective metrics, which is great because you can just do the math and come up with whether or not you're in compliance. But how do you decide employees are well informed? I just don't follow that.
So I can begin by, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Haldo for communications, but I can say that we do a lot of surveys, a lot of community engagement internally, but I think surveys is our biggest asset when it comes to measuring that. But I'll turn it over to Ms. Haldo.
Yes, good morning, Jackie Haldo, Chief Administrative Officer. That is correct, Mr. Drainville, and to the board. We do an employee engagement survey, and employees tell us if they are well-informed. So one of the questions is, how often do you communicate with your supervisor? Are you getting feedback? And we use those. And so they are telling us if we're informed. It's their responses.
Thank you.
Okay, although there's probably some built-in bias to that, right? I mean, the employee isn't going to admit he's not well informed, right? I mean, I'm not really trying to be argumentative. I'm just trying to understand how all this works, you know?
And I think for the coming year, one of the things that we are targeting is to have more engagement. The last time the survey went out, it's usually recommended that these surveys are every other year to allow time for organizations to make adjustments in communications. And I think we had a small population of administrative employees. When we release the survey in a couple of weeks, it's our intention to make sure that we're in the driver's room, reminding bus operators out on the shop floors. It will be all anonymous. So I would hope in an anonymous survey that you feel comfortable, because there's really no way for us to tie back. But you will see in the numbers that we're trying to achieve was from a smaller population of administrative employees, so you may see higher rankings. But it's our hope to have more employees participate, and that's why that is the first metric in the employee engagement.
And I would like to add though, you know, one of my directives from taking this position was to, you know, build that relationship between the employees and have a lot more informational sessions. I didn't want to call them town halls. I didn't want it to be about me or the CEO. I wanted it to be about the staff, to get the staff in front of people. You know, we had a big info session on, you know, introducing the whole leadership staff, but building the relationships where people feel comfortable to come and talk to us, and then there's no retaliation and nothing like that. So we're trying to change the culture to get honest opinions when we have all these surveys.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Director Schisler, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. I like the scorecard. I like the metrics that you're trying to track, particularly with the financial. I would caution, though, that not for you guys, but for anybody who's listening to this or will look at this, the significant improvement in the fund balances is not a ticket to free money. That's money is allocated, i.e. budgeted, and it's not free money. It's stuff that will be used and is greatly needed, but it shows good conservative efforts to manage the funds that are available, and is required for the financial stability of HART going into the future. So it's just a cautionary, but otherwise I like the metrics, and I like the performance thus far, and it still gives us room for improvement. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more comments? If they aren't, I'd like to just thank you for this presentation. It gives us a good idea of your pillars and what you're responsible for, but I think the other part of this also shows your evaluation of yourselves and making sure that you can, you know, improve even more so. So I think that, to me, resonates profoundly when you look at employee engagement and safety and security and so forth. Those are things that may be not as tangible, but you do get a lot of feedback from them. So I see that you stretch yourself for this year as well as next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Drainville, for the presentation and information, I'm going to hand it over to you, and then you would in turn hand it over to Mr. McCarthy.
Yes, this presentation I asked Mr. McCarthy to do as like an informational item just to the committee regarding some board comments about redlining and missed trips. So just an informational presentation. I'll turn it over to Mr. McCarthy.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee, and Mr. Drainville. So as the CEO said, there was reference at the most recent board meeting to HART redlining a number of routes. And just for the committee's benefit, redlining is just industry vernacular. Every agency, I think, probably uses a different term, but it essentially means when you don't run a trip that is scheduled to run. And I think the inference was that HART was not running a substantial number of scheduled trips. So this is informational just to provide some data and some context to what we are doing.
So when a trip gets redlined, it's for a variety of reasons,
That's correct.
maintenance being one of them, or?
Whoever was talking, I can't hear them.
I'm sorry, I was just asking to qualify what redlining means in terms of why a trip might be redlined.
And if you'd indulge me just a couple of slides, I will,
Okay, I'm sorry.
I will try to provide some clarity. Next, Danielle, please. So this is a graph of the last 6 months of our performance in terms of running scheduled trips. And as you can see, you know, we're running close to all of our trips. We're in, you know, very high 90s, exceeds what we're trying to do. If you see a small dip there in the last 2 months, that's attributed to both Helene and Milton, where we had several days of emergency service, as well as a couple of days where we didn't run any service at all. But we are running, you know, the majority of the trips that were scheduled to run. So we just wanted to point that out. So for the next I'll break down the last 3 months. So to your question, Director King, you can see some of the categories in which is cause for not running a trip that is scheduled. And just for kind of a little bit more clarification, a partial trip is where at least 80% of the trip was run. A full missed trip is where less than 20% is run. So we have, you know, it kind of vacillates. For some months, we have more kind of on the mechanical side, where we're stretched right now in the vehicle maintenance shop. We're down, I think, 7 mechanics at last check. We're having a very, as the industry kind of as a whole is hiring mechanics. So we're looking at different methodologies and strategies to try to improve that. Next slide. So for this particular month, you'll see operator shortage as a large reason for us missing trips. We do struggle with absenteeism like everybody else. Family Medical Leave Act in particular is a large driver of our absenteeism here. We're working with HR, with our third-party consultant for FMLA to try to, you know, enhance our oversight of that, but that can be, again, another driver. And next slide, please. And in October, we saw an uptick again in the mechanical, where we had, you know, very few operator shortages, but more kind of on the mechanical side and the vehicle side that drove us. So these are kind of some of the reasons why we drop trips, but I think kind of the underlying message is HART is delivering on the service that we say we're going to deliver, again, in the very high 99 percentile. And that's it. I'd be happy to entertain any questions from the board.
Thank you. Director Schisler, you're recognized.
I do have one question, and this is probably not the appropriate venue for it, but at the last board meeting, there was some complaints made regarding policy on sick call-ins. What is our policy on that? Just out of curiosity. Not trying to say you're right or wrong, but just curious as to what it is.
So I can start. So, you know, I've been involved in the last 2 negotiations with the ATU, And one of the things we wanted to focus on the last negotiations was attendance. We do have an attendance issue, and I know the last, and you hear some of the operatives come up and they say, oh, we were at 11. Well, they have 11 absences before they get terminated, 11 infractions, which to me, in the real world, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of, for people to get 11 infractions before they have any kind of, may terminate. So I negotiated down to 6. So currently, you have 6 infractions, and the wording does say may terminate. So, of course, the operators, have an issue with that, and then we're just trying to streamline that attendance to make sure that we have people coming to work and fulfilling the duties we have, the service we are actually providing. So that's kind of where, I'm not saying too much because we're in the middle of negotiations now, but that's when that's specific on, when they say they're at 11 and now they're at 6 and they're not happy with that. But it's just trying to focus on the attendance issues that we have and trying to make it better. So
You can't, if you're not here, you can't do the job, so it's, yeah. Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? I have one. You talked about attendance and 6 infractions. That does seem, 11 is significant, but even 6 before any action is taken. If everyone on the team who are absent 6 times, it will be shut down. So I think that the communication plan and employee engagement plan you discussed earlier may be an opportunity to share the impact of what happens. Not saying someone is not ill and so forth, just want to make sure everybody understands why it's being tracked, the impact to customers as well as employees, and allowing them to have some more conversation around communication and employee engagement. So I just want to comment on it, and thank you.
I agree.
Director Hartfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. McCarthy, I also serve on the Career Source Hillsborough Pinellas Board. If there's anything that we can do to facilitate a conversation to start addressing shortages with Career Source HP, we are reimagining that organization, and I think it'd be a great time to start developing that
Great.
relationship.
Looking for all the help we can get.
Okay, good
Thank
deal. You have my contact
Yes, sir.
info.
Thank you, Mr. Hartwell. Any other comments or questions?
And I would just have one comment. So, and we do many tours with our heavy maintenance facility, and coming up through the ranks as a mechanic, we do a great job with partnering with Hillsborough Community College. We have a great apprentices program. It's very tough to get talented workforce in that area when they come to work and they see what they're going to be working in. Transit's a unique industry where it's 24/7. We run a 24/7 operation, and the vehicles are there at night. People don't want to work at night. They don't want to work weekends. But to really attract that top talent, that's like part of my speaking points when I go around and requesting funding for our new heavy maintenance facility. So just wanted to put that in there.
Thank you. Director Hartfield, you're recognized.
Is it viable for us to create our own apprenticeship program? Is that a?
And we do have our own apprentice program. We do have one.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Our next topic is under the information item. In your packets, under the information item is an update or comprehensive operations analysis, COA. Mr. Justin Willits, Director of Planning and Scheduling, will provide a verbal presentation. Thank you, Mr. Willits.
Sure. Justin Willits, Director of Planning and Scheduling. The information report has been provided. We're still in the early phase 1 of this comprehensive operations analysis, which basically means the consultant is doing a large amount of data gathering, looking at our routes, changes in demographics of the service area, resources, and we're going to start doing some internal workshopping at the leadership level and then present an update to the board early next year. And that's really the update for now. I'm happy to take any questions if needed.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? Thank you, Mr. Willits. Okay, the next topic is our committee chair will announce those members who have questions, and I've done that, and then we go to old business. Is there any new business? Mr. Hartfield, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is more of a comment as opposed to an open discussion for new business, but I wanted to thank Mr. Drainville and the Chief Administrative Officer, Jackie Haldo. I'll be traveling to Dallas with the Tampa Chamber. We had to reschedule our meeting initially because of the storms, so we rescheduled for January 27th through the 29th. I'll be interviewing the DART CEO while we're there. And generally speaking, we'll ask for questions from our representative organization, and then the chamber will take those questions and kind of refine them. But with Mr. Drainville's help and Ms. Haldo's direction, the questions went directly as she submitted them. There were no changes. So great job with that. Great job, Mr. Drainville. Do we do locally or on a statewide basis or on a national basis, do we do any benchmarking trips as an organization, or is that something that speaks to strategic planning going forward?
Well, it does speak to strategic planning, and we have it in the past, but other organizations we've worked for haven't definitely done that benchmarking. So definitely, I would like to do that, look into that for future FAR, definitely. So that's something the staff can have discussions on, we can get the board involved.
Thank you. Any more new business? With no new business, the hearing now, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Madam